Race 2 for the BRSCC F1000 Championship is about to get underway, and it's reverse grid, so we've got slow guys at the front, quick guys at the back, so it should get interesting. But even more interesting is Dan Klaus here, with his beautiful green F1000 car. Dan, it's a purpose for this. It's for your dad's 70th birthday. Your father, Bob Klaus, he invented supercars, so you've got a good pedigree.
That's right, yeah. As a family, we've been going racing ever since I was a few months old. Dad raced mainly for development for his business, and when he raced, this was always his colour, his logo, and the business logo as well. So as he's 70 in a couple of weeks' time, we thought we'd do something for him.
Brilliant. And it's reverse grid time for the F1000. You looking forward to this?
Yeah, very much so, yeah. The reverse grid always mixes it up a bit. Probably a little bit a case of surviving Paddock Hill Bend and Druid's first lap, and then see where that shakes out from there, and then hopefully make our way towards the sharp end.
Yeah, you've got some very quick boys behind you. You're going to be looking in the mirrors or in front of you?
Oh, in front first, and then see where, I'd say after a few laps it'll probably shake out, and hopefully we'll make our way through, and with a bit of luck I'll be towards the front of it.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Yes. And with that, I'll hand you up to our race commentator, Andy McEwan.
Thank you very much, Anthony. Well, we'll watch with interest how Dan and also Paul Butcher and Michael Watton, the three quick drivers from race 1, get on from towards the back with this reverse grid race. David Wheel and Robert Bailey make up the front row, with Peter Lag and Adam Walker next in line. Then it's Alec Iyengar and Dan Clues on row 3 ahead of Paul Butcher and Michael Watton. Then our 3 retirements from race 1, Elliot Mitchell, Christopher Hill and Dax Ward line up the tail end of the field. Green flag waved at the back of the grid. David Wheel will actually be starting from the back, the man who was due to start on pole. He's elected to do that in his slightly slower Mark 4 car, but the lights are out, away we go, and we're on board here with Dax Ward as he heads up towards Paddock Hill Bend. That's Elliot Mitchell in front of us, so these are two drivers who did have mechanical issues in race 1, looking to try and make progress. But speaking of making progress, look at Dan Clues. Dan Clues is already into 2nd place from 6th on the grid. Brilliant stuff. There's Michael Watton diving around the outside. He's into 3rd, so both of those two making progress. It's Paul Butcher who didn't get a great start, still stuck down in 5th place. Clues attacks Adam Walker here though, who is leading the race, so Walker leads, Clues 2nd, and Michael Watton gets a better exit out of Graham Hill Bend, gets up the inside and looks set to take 2nd position away from Dan Clues as they turn into Surtees. Yes, he does, and so Dan drops down a position, and he will be ruining that already, because with Michael Watton in front of him, is there any chance that he's going to be able to challenge him throughout the rest of the race? If Michael's pace from race 1 yesterday is anything to go by, then in all likelihood that may be the last that Dan sees of him. For the time being though, Adam Walker is still leading. There goes Paul Butcher up the inside of Alec Iyengar for 4th position as they turn into Paddock Hill Bend, and they get very sideways indeed, so well saved from Butcher. Alec almost got back up the inside into Druids, but Paul does manage to hang on, and he will now start trying to bridge the gap to the top 3. On board with Paul Butcher now. You can see just up the road actually, contrary to my beliefs, Dan Clues really is taking the fight back to Michael Watton here, potentially because Michael is being held up a bit here by Adam Walker, who, although he's been racing in F1000 since 2006, hasn't had that much experience of running right at the sharp end, and you can see that Michael is a little slower than a little quicker there than Adam as he turned into Clearways and Clark Curve. Michael Watton has steadily improved actually over the last few years. He finished 11th in the championship back in 2014, then he was 7th for the next 2 seasons, 5th in the championship last year, so he is starting to inch his way towards the front of the field. Someone who is described as being the quiet boy sat at the back of the class and sort of slowly working his way forwards to the front, and now really is looking to break through right at the sharp end. Well, if he's going to, this is his chance to prove himself, because he's got the 3 fastest drivers here this weekend breathing down his neck. Watton 2nd, Clues 3rd, and Butcher still a little bit detached in 4th, but closing in slowly. Oh, this looks like it's where Watton's quick though, isn't it? Coming up on the brakes in towards Clearways, you feel that if the move is coming, and surely it must be, that may well be where it happens. Watton in the slipstream now, makes his way up toward Paddock Hill Bend into 6th gear briefly. There are 6 forward gears in the sequential gearboxes of these Superbike engined Speed Group F1000 cars. Those engines scream away, they really do sound fantastic. It's such an exciting championship to watch this, with the speeds involved, the sounds involved, and to drive these cars must be a real thrill. You can see that Michael Watton definitely getting away from Clues, but interestingly, so too is Adam Walker. So Walker is, although I think that Watton is quicker than him, Walker, because he's not just opening the door and waving him through, you would expect that to be bunching up the whole field, but actually, even with having to put up some defence to keep Watton at bay, he is still managing to lap quicker than Clues and Butcher behind. So really impressive stuff this from Adam Walker. Flash across the start-finish line again, up towards the right-hander at Paddock Hill Bend. Top speeds of these cars in excess of 150 miles an hour. They're probably hitting about 130, I'd say, as they head up towards Paddock Hill Bend, the fastest part of this circuit, but they'll really get the chance to stretch their legs at some of the circuits later on in the year. On board with Adam now, there's a bit of traffic in front of us through Graham Hill Bend. Oh, and he goes one way and Watton goes the other. Oh, what a shame for Adam Walker. Well, he did nothing wrong there, but he's ended up relinquishing the lead to Michael Watton because there was a back marker that had nowhere to go, really. It was just sort of sat on the apex at Graham Hill Bend, and Adam elected to go around the outside of it just to be safer, but in the end the gap opened up on the inside and he had to back off. He went the long way round, and that gifted the race lead to Michael Watton. What a shame though, because that was really looking set to be rather an entertaining battle. So anyway, he's still in second place, is Adam Walker, so we'll see now whether he can keep Dan Clues and Paul Butcher at bay or potentially go back after Watton. We're on board with him as he turns his way through the right-hander at Druids. Slowest corner on the track there, 40 miles an hour at the apex. Almost feel like walking pace that will after the speeds that they get on some of the quicker parts of the circuit. Adam Walker will be kicking himself. It was one of those blink and you'll miss it moments, really. He came across the back markers at a really inopportune part of the circuit, and he had a fraction of a second to decide which way he was going to go, and he went to the right, should have gone to the left, but hindsight is a wonderful thing, isn't it? Now on board with Dan Clues as he starts to try and chase down the second place man Adam Walker. Dan, who finished third in race one, so he'd rather like to improve on that in this race, but of course he spent the bulk of race one in second place, just ahead of Paul Butcher, who found a way past him later in the race. Well, look who he's got to play with again now. It's his playmate from race one, Paul Butcher, is right back on his gearbox, and this time they're fighting for third place, not second. But you do feel that with Dan's attentions drawn to his rear view mirror as he watches Paul Butcher close in, he's actually losing ground to Adam Walker, so Adam may just be able to stabilise the situation here and hold on to second place. Clues certainly doesn't look particularly stable in third, does he, with Butcher really breathing down his neck. Out across the start finish line to go again. Butcher in the slipstream now into sixth gear, flash past the pit lane exit, very bumpy braking zone into Paddock Hill Bend, so easy to lock up and go straight on into the gravel trap. And then you see down in the bottom of the hill still a few damp patches here this morning, so the track is not in an ideal condition. The fastest lap that we've seen so far this weekend was the fastest lap set by Michael Watton in race one, 45.920. Well, we are actually going slightly quicker than that in this race. 45.836 is Michael's fastest lap so far in this race. So despite those little damp patches, the cool air temperatures, I think, are helping the engines run that little bit more efficiently. Okay, it's harder to get the tyres with the temperature, but we're about halfway through this race now. They should have the tyres pretty much where they want them. And so these, in essence, are perfect track conditions for setting really quick lap times. Up the hill we go, there's Walker, there are Clues and Butcher, nose to tail, as ever it has been this weekend, really. They started close together in race one. They stayed close together throughout race one, changing positions late on. Down Graham Hill they go then, and Dan Clues, we heard chatting to Anthony in the assembly area before the start of this race, and how his family has superkarting heritage thanks to his father. Well, actually Dan started racing in 125cc superkarts back in 1994, and he progressed up through the karting and superkarting ranks before moving into F1000 racing. No surprise really that is where his racing career began. He's had a lot of success though in F1000 racing. Surprising actually to think that his best championship position is fourth, but he's finished fourth the last 2 years. On board now with Dax Ward as he makes his way through Paddock Hill Bend. Now Dax was one of 2 retirements yesterday, and his retirement was caused by an issue with the piston within the engine, and as a precautionary thing, rather than try and patch it up and hope for the best, they actually changed the engine altogether overnight. They had a spare engine sitting by, and Dax was able to put that fresh engine in overnight. Which is one of the great things about F1000 cars. They're reasonably easy to maintain, and you can sort of just lift the engine out and place the new one back in, and it's not a particularly complicated fix. So that, of course, also helps to keep the costs down. The man he's chasing is the other retirement from yesterday, Elliot Mitchell, who had an electrical issue, but apparently the team was saying he probably could have limped home to the flag, but again, precautionary, first race of the year, didn't want to do any further damage to the car than was necessary, so he brought it into the pit lane. But that was a shame, because both of these drivers showed top 5 potential, and both of them ended up slipping out of the race. I did mention in race 1 that we had another retirement for this man, Christopher Hill, car number 18. That wasn't actually a retirement, but he wasn't classified from the race. That's because he was still running at the end, but he hadn't quite completed the 80% race distance that's required to be classified as a finisher. He very nearly did, but he got put an extra lap down towards the end of the race, and that meant that he unfortunately just slipped outside that 80% bracket, but he'll be hoping to pick up the speed a little bit this time around. It's fair to say that Chris, in what was his first ever car race, first ever race of any kind yesterday, did a good job just to stay on the track and not get tangled up with anybody. So good stuff from Christopher, and he will, I'm sure, get quicker and quicker as the season and even as this weekend goes on. Already his pace has improved massively in this race. So there goes Dax Ward. Back down towards the left-hander at 30, 46-year-old from Southampton, so he's one of the few drivers who hasn't had to make a pilgrimage down south, it seems, to get here to Brands Hatch. He started racing back in the year 2000, and he has raced in F1000s for the last couple of seasons. 8th in the championship last year was Dax. Back on board now, though, with Paul Butcher. Dan Clue's still in front of us in 3rd place, but look at the way that Adam Walker has stretched his legs now, really been able to pull away from this fight for 3rd, so it seems unlikely that he's going to lose that 2nd place now, barring any late race dramas, of course. Probably now put the curse of the commentator on him, but let's hope not. This battle for 3rd, though, raging on, and actually not too far behind them is Alec Iyengar as well, so it does, yeah, there you can see him, the blue number 44 car in the background, Alec, so Paul Butcher has a look at the inside. Well, that came out of nowhere, didn't it, really? That was a very, very good late braking manoeuvre that was attempted, but he wasn't quite close enough. But the more these two battle, the closer Iyengar will get. So Iyengar's car still smoking slightly, though, as it has been all weekend, really, but it doesn't seem to be affecting the performance too much. Unfortunately, Robert Bailey's performance has been affected in a negative fashion. He is pulling in to retire, so the man who was due to start 2nd on the grid, essentially inherited pole position with David Wheel's decision to start from the back of the grid. His race is coming to an untimely end, unfortunately. Back with this Butcher and Clues battle as he makes his way. A pair of them make their way back across the start-finish line now. Butcher had a go up here, a lap ago. Is he going to have another go? He's a bit closer this time, and yes, there it goes. Brilliant stuff from Paul Butcher. That was a great move up the inside of Dan Clues. You could sort of see that coming, though. He had a go that previous lap, realised he wasn't close enough, got a slightly better run out of the final turn that time, though, got the slipstream down the pit straight, and that was a textbook bit of outbraking. So brilliant stuff from Paul Butcher. He's into 3rd place. The trouble is, I doubt that he's really got time to chase down Adam Walker in front. There's Iyengar, though, so he's closed right in. This is now a 3-way scrap for 3rd, but you sense that Paul Butcher might just be able to check out here. Dan Clues, the job now becomes keeping hold of 4th, not giving it away to Alec Iyengar behind. He will be deeply, deeply frustrated to twice now have lost a position late in the going to Paul Butcher. That could be potentially tyres, I guess. Maybe Paul's looking after his tyres a bit better. That was really all done on the brakes, wasn't it, into turn 1. But now that he's got through, he's not really been able to pull a huge gap, so these two really do seem very evenly matched. I think we're going to get lots of good dices between these two as the season goes on. Back down the Cooper straight they go. Iyengar keeping in touch with them for the time being. We'll see whether he can do anything potentially about Dan Clues. Back out onto another lap we go as we inch our way now towards the closing stages of this 2nd round of the Speed Group F1000 Championship. Clues turning his way back into the right-hander, man who keeps himself fit with lots of cycling when he's got free time. Enjoys his music, enjoys his gin as well, apparently, which he's not the only one. Oh, there's Alok. Look up the inside, though. Dan won't be enjoying this very much because he almost is losing 4th place here. Luckily, the outside at Druids turns into the inside line at Graham Hill Bend, but Iyengar tries to go right round the outside. What a move that was! Well, Alok Iyengar, he kept his foot in it, and full marks for commitment there. Alok Iyengar is into 4th place. However, I do worry about the legality of that move, because as you may have noticed, all 4 wheels were well off the racetrack there as he completed the manoeuvre down at Graham Hill Bend. Now, that is illegal regardless of whether you're making an overtake or not, and if you keep doing it, you'll be given time penalties for exceeding the track limits. If that wasn't exceeding the track limits, I don't know what was. Add to that the fact that he gained a position in doing so, and you do fear that potentially a time penalty could be coming away of Alok Iyengar post-race. Peter Lag there waving through Michael Watton, who is heading, it seems, towards 2 wins from 2 so far. The hat-trick has only been done once. It was done last year at Silverstone by this man, Michael Watton, so if anyone can do it, he can. Surprisingly tricky to do, though, especially with the introduction of reverse grids. He really made this reverse grid look fairly easy. You do sense, though, that Adam Walker would have given him a much tougher run for his money had he not just been slightly outfoxed in the traffic. That's the experience of running at the front of the field for Michael Watton paying dividends there. Adam Walker, as I said, although he's been racing in F1000s for quite some time, maybe not always been right at the sharp end of the field. So it's things like that that you learn the more time you spend dicing for the lead and defending from people like Michael, is that even in traffic you can't afford to switch off, because if you make a mistake or get held up, the car behind will pounce and come past you very, very quickly indeed. So back across the start-finish line again, and into Paddock Hill Bend goes Michael Watton. Down the hill, plunging downhill, climbing back uphill towards Druids underneath the Brands Hatch Bridge. And the driver of car number 1 looking very comfortable in position number 1 this weekend at Brands Hatch, isn't he? 3rd gear there for Graham Hill Bend. Way up towards the left-hander at Surtees now, and Michael, who enjoys a lot of five-a-side football apparently in his spare time, is certainly keeping fit by doing that. You need to be fit to drive one of these things at full pelt, which is exactly what Michael's been doing there. The last lap board is retracted because that was the final lap, and the checkered flag now flies. So Michael Watton, a winner in round number 2 of the Speed Group F1000 Championship 2018. 2nd goes to Adam Walker. Great result for him. Paul Butcher's 3rd ahead of Dan Clues and Alok Iyengar in 5th. That was reversed post-race as a result of that exceeding track limits. Mitchell, Ward, Lag and Wheel next in line, with Christopher Hill rounding out the finishers in 10th place. Robert Baker.
Well, Michael, you started 8th, finished 1st. There's no doubt in my mind you were going to win, but it wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't easy. Reverse grid's always a difficult race. Early in the season, I just wanted to take my time to make my way to the front, honestly. And the first lap panned out quite well. I got to 2nd, and then I was chasing Adam for a few laps. And honestly, he was really, really fast. I was really struggling to find a way past. He was very strong in important parts of the circuit. So off of clearways and through paddock, he was very strong. I was quick round the back, but it's difficult to pass there. And I was just hopefully waiting for a mistake, waiting for a back marker, and that's how it panned out in the end.
Yeah. What can we expect from race 2?
Well, the last race I'm starting on pole because I set fastest lap in the previous race, so hopefully a repeat of race 1. I think the start's always important. If you can get to the front early, then it allows you to control the race. And but we'll see. There's some fast people behind, some fast starters, so I think we just need to get a solid podium in this last one, and it'll be a good weekend for us.
Adam, firstly, congratulations. 2nd spot on the podium, but it's a tough race, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was quite tough. I got a decent start from 4th, and by the time I got to Druids, I realised there were no one in front of me, which were a bit weird for me. So then I could see Michael in my mirrors, and I was thinking, he's going to be coming up on me, but I managed to hold him off for quite a few laps, and then caught traffic in the wrong spot. He got by me, and then basically I just managed to stay in 2nd for the rest of the race, which pleased me. Best result I've had so far, so yeah.
Well, for now, congratulations, go and enjoy it.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Well, Paul, you were looking for something better than 2nd. Unfortunately, it's 3rd this time. It's a tough race.
It was. I think I said at the start that it was all going to be about the start, and Yeah, I got boxed really badly and then had to work my way through one car at a time, and Dan is never an easy person to overtake.
No, and especially 6 cars in front of you at this pace as well. 92 mile an hour the average around this track.
Yeah, well, that's not one of our fastest tracks. We've got a couple where we're north of 100 miles an hour, but yeah, they don't hang around, the Jedis.
No, they're great to watch, and you've still got one more race this afternoon. What can we expect from you?
Well, I'm hoping for a top of the podium, but I'm sure Mike has other ideas about that.
A clean sweep, first, second and a third trophy to take home, that'd be nice.
Oh, it would be lovely. Yeah, absolutely. I'd certainly take that.
Brilliant. Well, for now, go on and enjoy.
Thank you very much.